Recording in progress.
like a mile.
last year.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive that they can run it all and not shut it down.
Yeah.
They're working on 40,000 volts.
They just fixed one of the 2 poles at my house from the storm, a year and a half ago. So
Did they take the old stuff away?
No.
No.
There's one still tied. There's still an old pole tied to the new pole, holding all the other junk. With like, it looks like a zip tie. Cool.
Yeah.
It'd be better for me. They set the pole back, so when I pull into the Browers, my stakes don't rub the pole.
Okay, we've reached 6:30, so I think we're safe to start. Good evening and welcome to this regular meeting of the Readfield Select Board. It is Monday, June 30th at 6:30. I'll call the meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item of business tonight is the minutes of the select board meeting of June 9th.
Make a motion to accept the meeting minutes, June 9th as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, only 4 of us can vote. All those in favor? And Rebecca's abstaining because she wasn't a member
Yet.
at that time. The next item is 25-102, the warrants 49 to 52. Does that include today's?
No.
No.
No, okay,
No.
great.
So I'll start with 49 and 50. We had $34,710 to CH Stevenson for grading, gravel, and compaction. What was that? The loose road?
That was Gay Road.
Gay Road.
Gay Road, yeah, the work on that.
Yeah. 1,681.83 to LBJ for the sidewalk engineering, I'm assuming.
Yes, that's the sidewalk engineering, yeah.
45.50 to main trailer, and that would be the storage trailer for the rec department, correct? 64,757.20 to mainly paving for, that would be the Lane Road, I'm assuming. Is that one? And the big one was $363,099.85 for the RSU. It's 49 and 50, and then 51 and 52. We have 22,842.05 for assuming updating the fire equipment, the fire station.
Oh, let me look at that. What was the vendor again?
Fire tech and safety?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
fire
fire
tech
tech and safety, yeah, they need might know more about that this year.
Yeah,
But
the details.
No.
We're good with it, I think.
Thanks, Dale.
8,111 for our lovely First Park donation. $3,835 to Main Commercial Tire for backhoe tires. Was that just the front tires?
just the fronts, yeah.
Are those air-filled tires?
Not anymore.
Okay, those are solids.
Solids, yeah.
Okay, that's why it was $3,800. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, no, we had issues, so.
Yeah. They solved that. $354,168.23 to mainly paving. That's the Lane Road, North Wayne, Morrill Road, and Beaver Dam, correct?
Yeah, so that's all the asphalt. And that 67 you mentioned the first time was probably for the reclamation and ground that
Right.
had to be put
Yeah,
down.
it was, and I forgot to mention that. And 78.50 to Scott Horn. It was Tallwood, Huntoon, and the Bells Road. Assuming he did some ditches and culverts.
That should be grading. He probably
Oh, the
did that and
grading,
a few others,
okay.
yeah.
And $11,822.27 to Waste Management for tipping fees. Other than that, that was
Have we
the regular business.
paid for the shoulders work that was done or not yet?
That's coming up. That's around 28,000, I think. But that's on the
The
next
next warrant.
warrant, yeah. It's coming.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So these are separate warrants.
So make a motion to approve warrant 49 and 50 for the sum of $518,781.93.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? You can certainly participate in discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. And then the next set,
Make a motion to approve warrants 51 and 52 to the sum of $504,193.43.
Second.
I'm just checking your number. I can't get there yet.
Page 15.
Well, that's explaining why 26 isn't helping me. Okay. Page 16, I'm on 17. Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is unanimous. Let's see if I get back to the top. That doesn't work. Oh my God. At this time, I would like to make a suggestion that we take item just the first part of item 25-104 out of order, which is the election of the select board chair and vice chair, and then do the appointments afterwards. Does anyone object to doing that?
Nope.
Okay. So this is something we do annually every year at the beginning of our terms. I'd like to make a motion that we consider appointing Sean Keegan to be chair and Dave Linton to be vice chair.
I'll second that.
Is there discussion?
I'm interested in being vice chair as well.
Okay. I guess, can you give us some feedback?
Certainly, I think I've learned a lot last year, and I learned best by doing. So I think would be a great way for me to learn how to do things better on the board. And I think Sean would be a great chair, and I think he would be a great person to learn from as well. But nothing against Dave. I definitely support Dave being vice chair as well. So I totally trust the board to make a good decision. I don't think it can go wrong.
Thanks, Sharon.
I would agree with you on that. I think the board's worked really well together and is supportive of things, even if we might not be wholly supportive, we join together and act appropriately, so. Dave, you want to say anything?
Nope.
Oh, the most comfortable part of the whole year.
Okay.
So if there's no further discussion, I'll call for a vote, and then if it fails, we'll make another motion. So all those in favor? Well, there we go. So at this time, I will swap seats with Dave.
Oh. That fast?
Afraid
That's
so.
like the meeting. Ah,
Front and center.
All right, so thank you, everybody, for that. I appreciate your support. So let's go back up to our communication. So the first thing on here is select board communication. Does anybody have anything on their goals or general information they want to notice?
Earlier today, I thanked Chief Nick for the great job that the fire department does. They seem to come by my house fairly frequently, and I always have this great feeling of pride when I hear them, and occasionally Mount Vernon and rarely Vienna joining in. And we just have a wonderful fire department. We should all be appreciative of them. Emily, I noticed the flag is limply hanging at the end of the road here. It's got one hang, not two.
That loose one I didn't like.
Anybody else?
Just that I've restarted my quest as far as the plow contract for next year goes. Now that it's 90 degrees out and nobody cares about snow plowing anymore. I can get back into that. So there'll be updates along the way.
Thank you. And all our sort of new goals we'll kind of figure out as we get our new retreat planned and see what the next year holds for us. So we have meeting minutes from the Open Space Working Group from May 15th and June 18th, and the Road Committee from April 10th. Thank you for submitting those on time. Public communication. Any members of the public here to speak outside of appointments? Anybody online? Okay. Now we're on 25-103, so we're going to consider the appointment of Ben Austin to the Trails Committee. Ben, do you mind just popping up to the podium, telling us a bit about yourself and your thoughts on the Trails Committee?
My name is Ben Austin. I live on South Road. I'm interested in joining the Trails Committee to help with the trails, I suppose.
Great, thank you. We are lucky to have the trails in this town, so.
I will say that the Trails is desperately looking for someone under the age of 70. I'm assuming you qualify.
No pressure.
Definitely understand.
Does anybody want to give me?
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Ben Austin to the Readfield Trails Committee for position starting tonight and going through June 30th of 2027.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you, Ben.
Thank you,
You
Ben.
do not have to stay for the remainder of our
Sign
meeting.
one of those.
Although it's
And-
tempting.
And our feelings will not be tarnished by that.
Most people, I
Just pass
was
it.
like, what is this?
Oh, yeah, sorry, and then just pass along. So, go from there, yeah.
Any of these ones?
Okay, so we're going back to 25-104, and we need to look at other options and pieces that we're all going to take care of. So the first one for select board is note taker, timekeeper. Dave, you were our timekeeper for the last year, were you not? You
Was
think?
it?
I think so.
I think I got thrown into that sometimes. Wasn't Steve the
I
timekeeper?
thought Steve.
Oh,
Steve
was
was the
Steve?
timekeeper,
Okay.
but I was looking at the clock for something.
Anybody interested in that role for this coming year?
Just looking at the clock, I mean,
Making sure we're staying on time with our agenda.
Reminding us if we're going over.
I'll do that.
Thank you, Rebecca. And so our quarterly financial warrant reviews, so typically we take, starting tomorrow is the next quarter, so you'll take your quarter and if you can work out your own sort of system with Teresa that works best for you. I usually get a text and I show up. That's the best way for me. So,
Mondays,
yeah. So,
sometimes Tuesday morning.
so does anybody have a preference on a quarter that they would like to take for the upcoming year?
I'll take any.
I'm good with the one I have, but I can do any of them, whatever.
So you want fourth quarter?
Convenient for, that's fine with me, but if somebody else would want it, I can do any of them.
All right, Dave's on fourth quarter.
Okay.
I would prefer one not during legislative session.
Is that now?
Would that be the first quarter then?
Not January through.
No, our first quarter is July.
July,
Oh,
September.
okay, then first
August,
quarter,
September.
yeah, first quarter or second quarter would be fine.
If
Why
you'd
don't-
rather have that, I can do it.
Why don't you do second quarter, so you have a chance to maybe shadow the first quarter with
Perfect.
someone, just to make sure. I think that always helps. I don't mind taking first quarter.
I can do first quarter. Typically, we don't have the chair do it.
Yeah, that leaves me third. You can be back up.
You good? All right,
I'll
so
do
Will you
third.
write that down, Angelica?
Oh, yes.
So I'm doing first. We'll touch bases a couple times and you'll be all set.
I'm
You're
still
doing
the
second,
closer.
you're third, you're fourth,
You're
and I
right.
can be back up too, because I'm just a couple miles up the road, so.
and usually Tuesdays are good for me to get down here for a signature, so I usually work from home Tuesdays, so.
Is it all right with everyone if I continue doing the weekly signings on Thursdays? Or you want to fight me for coming in every Thursday morning?
No, I would.
Not a bit.
That's when we do the state weekly payments for motor vehicles and dog licenses and boats and RVs and all that.
We're grateful for you.
So only during this quarter am I responsible, what am I responsible for?
This quarter?
For the second quarter, what is it that I'm?
So Teresa has we didn't bring it up tonight. So the warrant has all the bills in it in
Mhm.
order alphabetically, and there's a listing in the front. And the reviewer's job is to take that listing and look at the bill and make sure that the amount and the payee is the same in both places. And that
Okay.
something extra isn't in there that isn't listed, or vice versa.
Mhm.
And then we all trust that the reviewer has done it correctly, and we all just kind of blindly sign it.
Yeah,
Got it, okay,
yeah, if you're not the reviewer,
then you can just sign.
yeah, I mean, I really
If
trust.
you-
You're welcome to review.
You're
welcome
welcome
to
to
review.
review the reviewer.
And then you report out at the select board meeting, just like Dave did.
We just pick out the big numbers and things that are not the norm.
Interesting, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
So Teresa does all the work, puts it together, and it goes to Eric as treasurer, and he goes through it just like we are going to, and he signs off on it. And then you take the same sheet and sign off on it, so 3 people have seen it, so the town should be pretty satisfied that it's done correctly and that the select board is aware of what's going on and
Yeah.
that it's all correct.
Thank you.
So we figured that was easier, and then we don't have to, in the old days, 6+ years ago, we used to meet every second week because we signed the warrant.
But typically,
Never.
we've tried to make our schedule
Coincide.
fall. We
If
have
we
signed a
can.
lot on Monday evenings, so it makes it a lot easier. But
And we only have to have 3. 3 is the legal number, and for the state warrant, we have to have 1. That's why I just do that, because I'm around.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Prefer to have them all, but
Info.
3's good. It's always better to have all of us sign it.
all right, Catherine, the next one on here is Solid Waste and Recycling Committee, and I'm sure we're all gonna fight you for it, but I would appreciate if you maintained that position.
Oh, I'd be happy to, and I'd love to have at least 1 other Readfield resident. I think we just changed our bylaws so that we only have to have 2 residents, 1 being a select board member. It'd be nice to have someone there with me.
Okay, good plug. Age-friendly committee representative, Steve was taking that position. Does anybody have an interest in that one?
Sure, I'll take that.
I typically struggle at the time of their meetings. That's usually my biggest struggle.
What time is that?
During the day.
Oh,
Is it like 10 in the morning?
Yeah,
but 9 AM or 9:30.
I will say that the liaison role is really more to just help and facilitate, email and whatever. I mean, attending the meetings was nice, but that's only worked with like
Steve.
retired people.
Yeah.
And so we don't
Do they
expect.
have a Zoom option?
They don't, but they could. It would be a struggle, but they could. But I would just say that I think being aware of what they're doing and checking their minutes and just helping support that particular. I mean, the reason for the liaison, we don't have those for all the committees, but in my view was that we had elevated that initiative, the age-friendly initiative, and wanted to make sure we had that solid connection.
But we do have Jen now too.
We do have
who's a
Jen now, so we
different
might not,
relationship to it that,
yeah.
so maybe we can,
But it's someone the committee can feel comfortable contacting and saying, hey,
Yeah.
we're gonna do this thing and we really appreciate the select board to support us, but they don't really wanna show up and ask us. So I think that's kind of how we use the liaison role a lot.
Yeah. so we writing Rebecca down?
Yeah, you can write me down, that's
Thank you,
fine.
Rebecca. Okay, Readfield Enterprise Committee, I don't remember. who
I'm
that
happy
was.
to do that, Ken.
Oh, you did, thank you, Jaron. That was easy. Neighbors Driving Neighbors, did we have a specific, or is that a new ad?
That's a
right?
new ad, and that was at their request to try to help strengthen the program. I think that fits well with Rebecca's age-friendly initiative.
I will do that.
And I think that's one where they do want someone to show up to meetings.
Yeah.
But I don't think they meet during the daytime, do they?
No, they don't. They don't.
I thought it was evening,
I think it's evening.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I
that's,
can't remember when, but it
I
was.
think it's monthly,
Yeah.
I believe it is.
but there was some chatter, you wrote about it in the last messenger.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's, we
They
have
need
to,
support.
we have to get active.
Yeah.
or we're not gonna have that program. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So.
Right, well, the program will exist, it just won't be in our town.
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Okay, so the next one we have is First Park.
Happy to do that again.
Thank you, Jaren. And then we have Board of Assessors. So I am happy to continue doing the Board of Assessors.
I would as well, but
I'd be interested. I'd be interested.
You'd be interested? You haven't done it, right?
I have not done it. No, it'd do for me.
Cool. It's really interesting.
I think it really helps you understand a lot of aspects of the budget as you get going.
Is the revale coming up in this fiscal year or the following?
We should be getting close to finished this year. I'm not sure exactly where we are in the cycle, but it's either this year or next. But I would expect that we'd be getting very close to finishing it this fiscal year.
Okay, so is it,
We lucked out, Rebecca.
yeah, unless you had a dying itch to be.
No,
on the
I'm
Board of
good.
Assessors. Okay,
I think I'll have my plate full with age-friendly and neighbors driving neighbors.
I think that's correct.
we're not
See-
done guilting you in this.
I take trash because it's only 4 meetings a year. But then I'm the secretary and the chair, so.
Yes. So you got that, then me, Jaren and Dave for Board of Assessors. You're all set? Okay.
All 3 of you?
All 3 of us.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
there's 3 of us for Board of Assessors. And those are usually a 6 o'clock meeting before select board, so.
Are any of these positions ones that Kristen needs a monthly write-up from, other than mine?
I think typically we discuss what we did in the Board of Assessors meeting at the meeting.
Right, no, I mean like putting something in the newsletter.
Oh, in
Like
the
Sean will
newsletter.
write for the select board now. Oh, by the way, can you write one tonight before 8 o'clock tomorrow? For Kristen? I was counting on you doing this last week, so I didn't write one for.
So she thought she'd tell you tonight.
So I did talk to Kristen, and we got 2 paths, right? One is that you and I both write like last minute articles, or we both don't, and then the page formatting works out, and Kristen doesn't have to change anything.
I would concur with that idea.
Oh, come on. It's your first shot. Eric, you should have yours done.
Oh, I rarely do. I'll be honest.
Okay, so I'm moving on from that conversation.
So I did want to ask about Heritage Days, and if there was anybody that was interested in being a liaison, because we did used to have one back in the day. We had Val on there for quite a while, and then we had Dennis Price. So I think it would be helpful going forward, but certainly not a requirement. But I know I think it would be helpful.
I mean, I have done it also, but I'm just not here this year, so I
You have
feel,
done it, yeah.
yeah, and I just feel like if you are a part of it, there's, it's a busy day to be responsible for, so, I wouldn't be able to help this year, because it would be pointless. I'm not here. But I'm more than happy to help next year.
Okay. Okay, well, if that's the course, then we're good. Yeah.
All right. Item 25-105, consider the reappointment of a slate of board and committee volunteers. So,
What page is this on? Does anyone know?
33.
Thank you, Jared.
we have Maggie Edmondson for Age Friendly Committee, Les Priest for the Appeals Board, Peter Davis, Ed Sims for the Budget Committee, Brenda Lake, Lee Livingston, Pam Osborne for Cemetery Committee, Tom Malocki, Greg for the Copsey Water District, Greg Durgan and Bruce Hunter for Conservation Commission, Jennifer Bonifon, Maureen Erb, Christine Olson for Library Board of Trustees, Henry Clausen, Jack Comart for the Planning Board, Matt LaJoy, Andrew Petrowski for Recreation Committee, Per Gardner at Road Committee, and Nancy Bucher, Pete Davis, Jackie Druin, Holly Ramelow for the Trails Committee.
I'll make a motion that we appoint the slate as presented, with the terms being 3 years, July 1st, 2025 to June 30th for all, with the exception of the planning board, which are 5 years, July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2030.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
The only thing I would ask is this include I know Bill was a on the planning board, correct? That's resigning. Are we covering that? Like who's gonna take his spot or who's an alternate or we're not?
So what typically happens with those is the alternate automatically rolls forward and we only have
Yeah.
one right now.
So it would be John, correct?
Yep.
All right, so I was gonna.
If you wanna
say
make
that he
that
would be the
motion-
next one that's
I mean, yeah, if you
in
want to
line.
make that in a motion, you certainly can, but I
If
think
he's
it's just.
willing to
Like,
do
I-
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that after this motion.
Okay,
I think that's a great idea.
So I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Thank you to that wonderful selection of volunteers.
We actually have to
Oh, look at
accept
that.
this
Right, top right.
resignation first.
Oh, okay.
oh, correct, right.
Is there like
Oh.
multiple in here?
Just sign the cover sheet and the rest of it's back up.
Fantastic.
Okay, so now 25-106, consider the reappointment of municipal officers. So,
Sean,
yeah,
could I suggest that we take 107 and 8 out of order and then do
Go
the
back
one
to that
Dave was
one.
just talking about?
yes. So 107. There's a lot of pages to scroll through to 107.
It is. I can make the motion.
Go ahead.
I make a motion to consider the resignation of Bill Buck from the planning board and Mary Ann Perry from the Age Friendly Committee, each with regrets.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Oh, any discussion? All those in favor? Okay,
So I would now make a motion for John Mitchell to become a full member of the planning board, if he'd willingly accept.
second,
so I have a motion and a second for John to transition from, what's the word? From
Alternate.
alternate to full member of the planning board. Please let the record know that John is over 70. And that is acceptable. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Thank you very
Does
much.
this now leave a alternate position open that we can post?
Two alternate
Two
positions.
alternates that we can post.
Two alternates.
Cool. Thank you for letting us do that, Sean.
You're so welcome. So you did 107 and 108.
I didn't want to make the Mitchells sit here all night and wait for us to do everything else. You're welcome.
See, when we make these agendas, can we just make them this way, Eric?
How do you mean?
The way that we know people are going to show up.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah, I'll work on that.
Yeah.
I'll put it in a chat GPT so it comes out.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna hop back up to 25-106. You both can't leave though. I'm gonna consider the reappointment of municipal officers. So first on the docket is Eric Dyer as town manager and associated roles, which I think will gather some discussion as we do every
I
year.
expect so, yeah.
Eric has the following roles for the town of Readfield: treasurer, tax collector, road commissioner, welfare administrator, and public access officer.
I'll make a motion to appoint Eric to the roles just stated for a period of 1 year.
second,
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, thank you for doing a great job over the last year. I don't recall there being any complaints from anybody about things. So that's always a gold star, right? And it was a pleasure to work with you in those roles as select board chair along with Sean.
Thanks, Catherine, and yeah, it is so weird to see you over here. 10 years I've been on this, working, sitting at this table, and Catherine hasn't been here every year, but she's been here pretty much every single year after the first one. And wow, like it's different to see you over there, but thank you for your leadership.
You're welcome.
Eric, every year when we get to these, I'm always amazed at the different roles on top of just town manager. Is there anything you think you can give up?
No, I think that the difference is like roles and responsibilities, right? I have the responsibilities, but a lot of the work is done by others. The tax collector work, a lot of that is done by office staff. Road committee, I've got Matt, our road commissioner, Matt is a huge help. And he's really the guy out in the field. So I have that managerial responsibility, but a lot of the work is being done by very capable staff. So
I thought that's what
that's
you
my
would
short
say.
answer.
Yeah,
Is Matt your deputy road commissioner?
He is, yeah, he's the deputy road commissioner. Teresa's the deputy tax collector, and so was, yeah, Angelica and Kristen are both deputy tax collectors. And so there's a lot of deputy roles. Teresa helps me out with general assistance. So,
I
yeah.
thought I did.
I've got one.
all right, thank you, Eric.
Oops, I got the glasses.
Thank you,
Well,
Eric.
that kind of answered my question, Eric, because I was gonna ask if that was too many hats for you to wear, if you were comfortable with all those roles, or how does that work with you? I know you got a lot on your plate.
Yeah, I do. And I'm comfortable with it. I think that it's good to have that kind of layers of responsibility, but it gives me a reason to be actively involved with a lot of this stuff. And I think that's just helpful for the overall operation of the town. We get to 4,000 or 5,000 people in town, I might see things differently, but right now I think that we've got a pretty good system with good staff behind it. So.
I think it's good every year that we question Eric about these different hats too, because I think a lot of people don't know the different hats that are kind of come under your umbrella. So thank you for taking those all again.
Are you still comfortable with the public? Now I can't find where it is. Public access officer.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have less going on in that world now, I think, so.
A lot
Here,
less.
I don't need the
Yeah.
pen.
But we developed a very
For
good
sure.
system, so that one's actually pretty easy now. It's just, we log it in the spreadsheet and we send stuff along, and it's been, that's gotten a lot more efficient, as well as less work, so.
Okay. Next on the list is Lee
Call
Mank.
for a vote.
Oh, did we not vote? Thank you, Jared. I have a motion a second. All those in favor? Okay, unanimous. Next, I have Lee Mank as fire chief.
We'll make a motion to appoint Lee Mank as fire chief for the next year.
Second,
I have a motion a second. Any discussion?
We're very lucky to have you, Chief Mank.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. We appreciate all you do, Lee. All right, I have a motion a second. All those in favor? That's unanimous. And last for municipal officials is Karen Peterson as transfer station manager.
Make a motion to appoint Karen Peterson as transfer station manager for the next fiscal year.
second,
I have a motion and a second for Karen to the transfer station manager. Any discussion?
Karen's been doing a great job and been some issues to deal with health amongst various employees and trying to schedule things and keep everything covered. And it appears between she and Eric, they're doing a great job at that. And really appreciative of the staff being willing to do the Sunday hours. I think a lot of people appreciate that. So there we go.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Those against? Thank you. Okay, we are now on new business 25-109. Discuss the annual Heritage Days celebration and possible discontinuance. What a wonderful word that is, of the fireworks display. Jen, do you want to join us up here? And Eric, do you have anything to start us off, or?
I'll just start off by saying that, the memo that we put forward tries to give a very concise summary of what the factors were and discussions that were had. This really is kind of a combination of cost and scope. And there are a few different paths forward, but I guess I'll just say that I feel that on balance, there's a lot of things that are happening that are positive with fireworks. The cost is a big detractor for me. If we can find a way to work around that and through that, maybe we can look, find a way forward, but I think overall, I want to see Heritage Days continue to be a really family-focused, family-centric event. Heritage Days, I've been to most of the fireworks shows, and I appreciated those, but now that they're approaching 85–90% of the budget, I think it was time for a discussion, and we had that discussion at the committee level or the informal committee level. Yeah, I'd like to see us do something different.
Thanks. And will this addition to the packet be made available?
It's on the website already.
It is,
Yep,
thank you.
Yep, it was put on about the same time it was sent to you guys, so.
Excellent.
All right, so, Jen.
I feel the same way. To be completely honest with you, I talk to my friends and I don't usually go to the fireworks show. Just because I always go to Heritage Days, and then when the beach closes at 4 o'clock and we go home to have dinner or we go somewhere else to have dinner, it's very hard to drag myself back out of the home when you have children. And a lot of families felt that same way as far as my friend group goes, and just the community members that I was talking to about it. And that's kind of what prompted this. And when Eric brought up that we could explore other options, I thought it was great. I'm always open to opinions. Otherwise, I would like to respond to the community and what they want, and not just what I want. I knew that it would be better for my own family, and it was more alluring to have a band. I thought would be great. I thought permanent inflatables, because some of the criticism that I got about Heritage Days was that the Makers Market wasn't very kid friendly, and they'd like to see more things down there for kids to have fun instead of just the beach. And inflatables are very expensive, but once we buy them once, we would have them for all future use. And there's a lot of fundraising opportunities to use those for too. So I don't think they would only be used at Heritage Days. I think there'd be a lot of opportunity to get use out of them. I think the band would be really, really fun, and I think it would be kind of a continuation, either right there at the beach or at the fairgrounds. We would love to have more attention at the fairgrounds, and so if we can hold it there, even though there's no power, I'm trying to convince people that can work. I think it'd be really great to draw attention there, and that could also be great for our fundraising. This town loves an outdoor movie, but they are ridiculously expensive, very surprisingly expensive. And so that would also give us room in our budget to do that on the Sunday evening. I thought it'd be really fun to make Heritage Days a 3-day event this year and go all the way into Sunday. And we have a lot of good things planned for Sunday, so I thought, let's go big. That's kind of the gist of it. I wrote everything else down. I have my mock schedule down. I did not write down the inflatables. That would be part of if we cancel fireworks that we could purchase. And yeah, I'm open to discussion.
Catherine?
So I appreciate everything you said, and I agree with virtually everything you said. There's a large part of our community that doesn't have children, and they're not coming to Heritage Days for the children's events, and they come for the adult things. So for instance, people go to the Historical Society, and we drink wine and visit and have snacks. Almost never any children there. The fireworks are really well attended. There are 30 to 40 boats out on the lake every year. People park up and down Route 17. There are 100 people standing on the back lot at the weather vane because the beach is closed, right?
Yeah, it has to close at 4 o'clock, and you can't go anywhere on the grass.
The people in the weather vane, I'm sure some of them come that night because there is fireworks. It draws people to town. I understand that they're expensive, but we've always talked about it at the select board level or had a liaison on the committee, which we don't now. Because it's a hard committee, it takes a lot of work and nobody really wants to do the work. And so now that you got hired, you get to do the work.
Yay.
So I think Eric and I talked about this, and we're of opposing viewpoints. I think it's a really worthwhile expense. I understand that they are more expensive. Everything has become more expensive. So I don't want to not do something just because it's more expensive, because then we wouldn't be doing anything in town, because everything has become more expensive. We talked about that maybe there aren't as many people as I think there, and that it's really not reaching as many people. So my suggestion for this year is this, rather than just not have them, let's have them and we can allocate the money tonight if we'd like. And let's do a head count of all the different activities this year as they're going on. When we've had music before, some of it has been a unbelievably gigantic bust. 4 or 5 people show up to something we paid $1,500 for. And that's, well, it's uncomfortable. I mean, I remember standing there one year and it was like, oh, wow, this is not great. And music is hard because no matter what you pick for music, it's not going to appeal to everybody. You can have the best band and it's still not going to appeal to everybody. And fireworks aren't going to appeal to everybody. And the dodgeball competition isn't either.
It's not dodgeball, it's kickball.
Sorry, kickball. EBAS.
Very important.
You know, so I think having various things is a good idea. And, you know, if the library book sale gets a lot of people, and I think fireworks is either equal or second to that in terms of participation. I think it's really worthwhile. I could be the lone voice and I'm good with that, but I think it would be more prudent to keep things the way they are this year, give it some more money so you can do the kinds of things you're gonna try to do.
And when you say give more money, you're talking about from select board.
Yeah, I don't know if we have enough in the select board account because we have been doing volunteer appreciation out of that. And we've also been doing employee Christmas donation from there. But we do have the unassigned fund balance. I don't know how much we need.
So as you're talking about the contingency fund, that's like that has, I think, 15,000, maybe we dropped it to 10 this year. But I would think that, and I guess I'll just say, I did get a call from Ed Dodge, who said he's been, you know, going to these events for like 70 years, and would love to see the fireworks continue, and would, you know, like to see the Masons donate some money and try to get other businesses to donate money to help offset some of the cost.
I think that's a great idea.
That's, I agree. And that's kind of I like how you put that, Catherine, because initially I was like, well, you know, it's expensive. I get it. You know, maybe postpone them for 1 year or do them every other year. But I think you're right. It is huge. You know, and like you said, not everything appeals to everybody. But maybe if we put that out there that, you know, this is on the edge of maybe being too expensive, maybe we can draw some people to throw some money in and say, you know, I'd be willing to throw a couple $100 in, and I'd be able to throw it. It doesn't take long, like you said, to make up $5,000-6,000 if everybody's willing to throw a couple $100 at it. The logistics, obviously, if you were going to do a band, then we'd have to do something differently if we didn't know that, if we didn't plan it ahead of time, because that's the only venue we have to do it, correct? Down at the.
I mean, yes, but Church Road Fairgrounds could be plausible. I need to work a little bit on the band to convince them that a generator would be feasible. It probably come with an extra cost, but I don't
But
see why
I
not.
think
And I personally would love to have it at the fairgrounds, just because I don't think we do enough down there, and especially with us wanting to do more, it'd be nice to bring more attention about all the things that we can do down there, and maybe it would bring more attention too to the urgency of wanting power and water down there too.
Tradition wise, I think it's you're right. We've done it for so long that it's hard to pull the rug out from underneath it. Just all of a sudden this year, at least have some warning that if we don't start, you know, maybe somebody throwing some money into it, that something's going to have to change. So
I've talked to a few different people. It's not many, probably fewer than you have, but one thing that people keep pointing out to me that I talked about with Eric and Sean is the idea of having things continue from year to year. Like if you go to the Winthrop Sidewalk Art Festival, you know what to expect because they do the same thing every year. And so people plan to do that and they bring friends, and not just from Winthrop, you know, a lot of us go and do that. And so I think one of the mistakes we might have been making along the way, because we don't have enough people working on it, is changing up what we're doing every year. And so like having the kickball tournament
Yes.
has been really good because there's a group of people who come for that every year because they just love it.
They come from out of state just to come to our kickball tournament.
That's so cool.
And they
Yeah.
donate their prize money back every year.
And they always give the money.
They can donate
to
them
the
the fireworks.
donation. It's only like $100, but yeah.
And so, you know, like if you're gonna buy some inflatables, and
Yeah.
they don't go over real big this year, don't sell them. Bring them back next year. And bring them back the year after that, because then people will be like, oh, they
Oh,
had
we'll rent
inflatables,
them
I
for
should
another
go
town."
this year. I saw them, but I hadn't been planning
Now
on
I know.
going. I didn't know they were
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
And let's
Celebration.
Right.
make that tradition more tradition instead of, well, that didn't work so well, so never mind. Is the sock hop coming back?
Yes,
And I know that didn't go really great. I think it rained.
it rained.
Yeah, weather hasn't been.
And
great,
so, but try it again.
Mhm.
So I
So
have,
keep our tradition and only build off of it
Yeah.
instead of replace.
so I too have had many conversations about this and I've been like, "Meh." I've been like, yeah, I really like it, but I also, it's a lot of money. I don't really have a strong sense either way, but I do feel strongly that the Heritage Days has to continue to be a broad thing, right? You know, like you said, the Friday night has always been the historical society night. There's never really been much else until last year with the sock hop, right? It was, so Friday night of Heritage Days is the senior night. It's the historical society.
Well, we're doing line dancing this year too. so-
And
Yeah.
line dancing this year.
So it's all the old farts. I
But
get
I
it.
have been helping with Heritage Day since 2019, and so, you know, there's just things that have been in place that have always been a part of that. And I too think continuing with things is important because you set up, there are people that look forward to it. It might be the only thing people do think of when they see the Heritage Day sign is, ooh, fireworks Saturday night. I don't know. So I think if we can look to donations and or select board supplement for this year with some conversation. And maybe that's something we have to put in the messenger about Heritage Days with this year's information, but I love how much detail and information you've given us before the next year, but I think there's a way to make it work this year.
I was telling Dave, I think when we arrived tonight, that we're going to see the wall in Farmington on Thursday. The Vietnam Wall, the portable one is coming. And Travis Mills is opening it up for people. And then we're going down to Turner to watch their fireworks on the 3rd, because everybody can't do them on the 4th, because there aren't enough companies to do them all on the 4th. But on their on Facebook and on their webpage, it says, you know, donate to the fireworks, $5. So, I mean, we'll do that. And I think lots of people will do that. And then they have reserved parking, $50, goes straight to the fireworks. So people who don't want to have to walk from the field in, you know, so we could do something like that. If you make it cheap enough, you might get lots of people who would say, sure, I'll send them $5. Just ideas.
And if it, like I said, if we put that out there that, you know, the fireworks are kind of in jeopardy, money wise, maybe you'd get people to throw some money in to keep them around.
I think anybody that looks at this and sees that it's 87%, it's gotta make you pause. You know,
The
80%.
portable
Yeah.
toilet eats up half of what we have left after we pay for, I mean, it's not that bad, but it's very close to that. I mean, it's staggering. So I mean, I'm really glad we're having this conversation.
What
And, you
is
know,
the cost for this year for the fireworks?
5,600.
It's 87% of the budget.
Yeah.
So,
So
But
what
the
do we
budget
need?
has also been reduced 35% over the last 8 years.
When did we get
No,
that? Is that in
that was
there?
every other, it used to be 10 grand for
Every
every
other
other.
year,
yeah,
sorry.
so yeah.
But
it's-
still, it's
Yeah.
significantly down from,
From
that's
what
one of
it
the
was.
reasons that it's 87% is because the budget is also smaller.
We've been heading this direction for a while and, but with the big 25% increase, because only 20% of it was related to the cost of the fireworks. They had like insurance and other things that kicked it up. So it really just kind of smacked us in the face this year. And so, yeah, I'm glad we're having this discussion. I think that it's really great that you guys are interested in supporting the work Jen's trying to do to add and build. And I'm glad that you're looking at donations as an option, because you know, with as hard as the budget process has been and was, scrambling over $5,000 here and there, cutting things that were, you know, I think important. It's just a little bit of harder sell to say, well, you know, it's $5,000 for fireworks, but I definitely understand the cultural importance and the fact that it is something that a lot of people enjoy. I mean, I'll enjoy it when we have them, but I'll feel better knowing that we've got people in the community contributing and it's not just tax dollars paying for that. So.
Winthrop does that too. Ask money.
I have a
Even
question.
potentially on Heritage Days weekend, you know, maybe we can get people a way for people to donate there, saying, hey, save the fireworks for next year kind of thing. Who knows how much money we could raise doing that.
Have a half-hour show.
Do we have space to store inflatables if we were to purchase them?
We
Yeah,
do.
we do.
We actually just got a large 40-foot storage container for all the rec equipment, including things like that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much your budget is. How much do you need for a donation from, or for the select board to cover from
For
contingency?
the things I would like to add,
Yeah,
I think it would be a little under 4,000, because if we were to buy one inflatable, assuming it was upwards of $2,000, the van would be about 1,000. And I think the outdoor movie would be about 600. I am estimating on the heavier side of all of those costs. And so that puts me at 3,600. I think that could cover those three things that I would have as a goal to have.
Well,
Have
there
you
goes
con-
this year's select board check.
Have you considered renting inflatables?
Yes, and the couple times that we have done that, they have been canceled by the company. They do
Last
like 3 days notice, and so if they see even 2% chance of rain 3 days out, they cancel it.
Got
And so that's what we have faced.
And we
Got
lose our
it.
deposit and it's
And
just,
then
it's
it
messy.
was a
We've
beautiful
probably-
sunny day with no
probably
issues.
Was it 2 years ago they canceled?
Really?
2 years
Last
ago?
year,
Oh, it was last year.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also maybe the year before.
That would put us basically exactly at $10,000, which is where we were in 2020. So it would be reestablishing the prior year's budget before it started getting diminished.
Eric, do you need an official motion for a dollar value tonight, or do you think between just communications, we can move forward with Jen's plan, and then when we get better numbers, we can give you a firmer motion?
Well, we're not meeting until July 21st, so I think it would be helpful to have a motion tonight. And I think 3,600 would be a reasonable. And if we end up getting donations to offset some of that, I think we can look at that and try to minimize. So if you give me an up to amount, we can try to be creative with how we put that together.
so the 3,600 is what you want to spend out of the 6,450.
That's what I was looking at, the additions that I would like.
In addition to
Yes.
the 6,450. So we're basically at 10,000.
Because
just like Jen
fireworks
said.
take up almost the
Yeah,
entire,
if you were keeping the
budget
fireworks,
otherwise.
correct?
Oh, okay, I
Like
see.
keep the
what you're saying.
fireworks,
Yeah.
everything would be.
keeping
in
the
it.
fireworks, so
So
the
you need-
cost of the three things that I was proposing in this packet of things I'd like to add to Heritage Days, I would think would be about $3,600. If fireworks were canceled, we were looking at maybe doing 2 large inflatables, but I mean, if we built our inventory by 1 this year, I would be pretty
Well, we
happy.
could
Yeah.
build it by one each year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
if
that's a
that's-
huge investment in the town. That's,
Yeah, it's not.
I
we're
think
always
so,
willing
too.
to spend on things that last.
Yes, and we have a lot of kids events and things
Lots,
that, and even
We do.
more with now the fairgrounds fundraising, I think we would use it a lot.
So I'll make a motion that we cover Heritage Days up to a total of $10,000 this year, using the additional money not budgeted from the select board contingency fund. And we'll reduce it by any donations received.
Second,
I have a motion, and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Great
Great.
discussion. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, 25-110, consider a controlled burn by the Readfield Volunteer Fire Department. Chief, is that why you're here?
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks,
you guys.
Jen.
Yeah, thank you.
Do they really have to sell you the property for you to do that? Do we sell it back to them
It's
when
a
you're done?
lease.
No, we have to, for us to use it for training. So we're covered under MMA. If somebody falls off a roof, we have to own the property. the building. We don't have to own the property, we just gotta own what we're climbing on.
The way I understood it was you lease the property, correct?
We lease the property,
But you buy the,
we buy the building for
for
a
a
dollar.
dollar. Right?
And then after we make a mess of it, it's up to the homeowner to clean it up.
Okay.
Within 45 days.
Within 45 reasonable amount. But our goal is just to make it a pile of ash, easy to take care of. So we get benefit out of using the structure because it's for the firefighter 1-2 program I have going on right now. So we have to do a controlled burn, we have to do venting, we have to do a lot of things. And that's, real structures seem to work better than the full structures, burn buildings and stuff. They work, but it's not the same.
I would make a motion to approve the lease for the Readfield Fire Department as presented.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Thank you, Lee. Good luck with your burn.
If you guys could sign that.
Well, I know you said you didn't want an explanation on the $22,000. I'll let you guys in on it. Obviously, it's not how I like to handle things on big purchases like that. But they were actually for demo units on battery powered Jaws of Life. And it was kind of do it then or not do it. And I talked to Eric, we have capital equipment funds and we have donations coming in from different places. So the firefighters association's actually gonna put that money back into it. So what the town, it's coming out of there, but hopefully most of it will get returned.
Great, awesome.
It was one of those things, given circumstances now, they're not gonna get any cheaper.
Right.
Probably, and so we got 2 units for probably about the price of one.
Awesome.
Good. So
It's pretty good.
It's another good tool in our toolbox. It gives us Jaws of Life on basically every piece of our apparatus that we have, so. It was planned different. That came along and it was just one of those things that it made sense.
That's great.
Hope you don't have to use them.
Right. That's always the goal.
While you're here, if it's all right, may I ask you a question?
Sure.
We had a request from a resident last year. We went around with Eric on this to have flags put up in Kent's Hill. When you put up the flags down here, because we're kind of 2 communities all together, and actually, I'm not sure I agree with that. Because then there are other neighborhoods in town as well. But in any case, I understood, we found out that you had received the flags that you put up now
Yeah.
from a grant a long time ago, and you take really good care of them. You put them up for like Memorial Day to July 4th, and you take them down, you put them up again and store them and.
That was part of because those actually came from the Cole Foundation.
Yep.
Again, and they hadn't done it for a while, but the last time we got them, Mike Matt was fire chief. So those flags are very old, the ones that we've been using. And part of the stipulation back then, and I know it's been kind of a question, why do we put them up and take them down, put them up, take them down? But that was part of the grant and the agreement. You put them up a week before the holiday and a week after. This time on the grant, you can put them up at Memorial Day and leave them for Labor Day. So that's why they're still up.
Did we just get new ones?
We just got new ones.
Oh, cool.
The Firefighters Association bought them. And Karen Peterson actually was up there getting stuff for the cemeteries and they're like, you want to, so she brought them down to us. So that was a bonus. We didn't have to go out to Bangor and get them.
Didn't even realize they were new.
Yeah, so.
So I don't know.
So what, it's an experiment. We're gonna see how they last. They're not gonna last 20 years like the other ones did.
Right.
But we have plenty of extras because you could get up to 48, so we bought 48. So I do have extra flags and we could put some up along Kent's Hill up in that area too.
And I don't know that, this was just the request that came, so
Yeah,
I don't
and-
know if we wanted to do some sort of a survey or, you know, is the depot also good, you know, up by the schools, I don't know. So I was just bringing that up, and that's really cool that you just got new flags.
And now that we can leave them up, it makes it more practical, because the last time we got them, we put a lot more up. I think we went all the way down to the depot with them, and we did go up to Kent's Hill. But we had so many flags out, that's what we spent a whole Tuesday night, was pulling up, you know, we spent a lot of Tuesday nights putting them up and putting them down, so it just, and
It's
then
kind of silly.
there's all the flags, cause like you mentioned when I got here about that one missing a screw, the wind blows, you know, so I'm forever stopping and fixing them, getting them off, so.
Okay.
Leaving them up would be a lot easier, so.
So I just thought I would mention it, that's all.
All right. Thank you, chief.
Thanks.
Appreciate your help.
Great job on all the grants and good buys.
25-111. So select board budget, consider draft select board budget committee and financial calendars. How much fun did you have making this, Eric?
Oh, lots of fun.
And Steve isn't gonna be bothered with the colors now.
Well, have you asked Rebecca if she's colorblind first?
Yeah.
I am not.
She's sitting in the seat.
Can women be colorblind? Yes, they can.
So this is just a draft based on what I have for, I guess, known needs. The budget schedule is similar to what we've seen in the past. The financial schedule is basically locked in because we are already on that path. And it's every 2 weeks, whether we like it or not. Fortunately, this year, most of our, we had very few Monday accounts payable and payroll warrants. So normally we're like shifting every Tuesday. If it hits wrong, then it's like 10 of those days you have to do on a Tuesday. But this year it landed right, and so we've only got a couple of blips. That one's pretty steady. And the select board, I just went with the traditional approach of having one meeting in the summertime, one meeting in December, outside of you know, the joint budget meeting that we have. And then the budget committee and joint meeting schedule is very similar to this year. I did drop out that second one in May, just like we did this year, because we kind of did a trial on that one, and it's busy enough without that. So, and people have all the resources to get what they need. So this is ready for your discussion and hopefully a nice quick vote.
Eric, I'm looking in July and I see 14th and 28th blue. Am I wrong?
July.
The other, on the next calendar now, go to the next one.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, so yeah,
That's-
so
I did the same
That's the
thing.
financial one.
The financial
Never mind.
one,
Yep,
yeah.
I'm back with you.
Well, I really appreciate that March doesn't have 4 meetings. It
Yeah.
has 2, and April only has 3.
Do you, we don't have the school obviously yet. That's usually,
we don't. I'll make sure I send this to them, and they'll do what they do.
and look at ours. Yeah, okay. But that's usually also in March, the extra school,
Right.
Yep, the joint,
the
the
joint.
yeah.
But at least if we're only meeting twice.
Yep.
Then that makes 3. When it's 4, it gets pretty hard.
Yep.
And of course, we haven't planned the retreat, so are you gone the whole month of August?
No, I leave on the 30th. I get back on the 10th.
30th of July?
30th of July, back on the 10th, yeah.
Well, I'm okay with this calendar. Anybody else?
Fine with it.
You good, Sean?
I'm good, yeah.
Rebecca?
I am not gonna be here on August 11th.
Everybody else here?
Yep.
You can miss one.
You could kick it to the 18th too, but
My wife would be really mad if we moved it to the 18th.
anniversary.
Yep.
I can't do that. We
Good for
did
you
that
for knowing
last year,
that.
I think.
Yeah.
It's nice to do it after the Heritage Days.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
So we need to find a retreat date.
Yes, so that we've done weekday evenings, Tuesday evening, I'll buy pizza. We make a 3 hour, 3.5 hour commitment, and it gets done and done. So if I mean, I'm open, pretty much wide open. I can't do the week of July 14th through the 17th or 18th. I'm gone that week to scout camp, but anything outside of that I can do. Maybe later in the month, 29th, 30th, something might work.
He's leaving the 30th.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm away for work the 27th through the 29th as well. So.
Okay, so we could do the 20,
Second
week
or
of the-
third.
22nd, 23rd, yeah. I don't want to suggest that we combine them because that gets awfully crowded
thank
in the
you.
select board meeting, but
Let's look at-
That's too far away from me, so I'll just say yes.
As long as you don't interfere with my hair appointment, we're all set.
I mean, we could also do it the week of the 7th, 7th to the 11th, I could,
I'm not here.
oh, that's right, yeah.
Sorry.
In July?
Take a
Do it out on
vacation.
July, yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm not, I'm in Minneapolis.
okay, all right.
So
go to-
how about the 22nd or 23rd for anybody?
Those dates are fine for me right now.
That's fun.
They're okay for me.
Sharon?
Sharon? Angelica?
Angelica?
I'm busy on Tuesdays.
So the 23rd, there we go.
Let's do the 23rd. That'll,
you, appreciate it.
23rd retreat.
23rd?
5:30, Eric?
What time can people be here? That's the main thing, Dave.
Yeah.
I mean, the working people.
Anything
decide.
after like 3:30, I can make it happen.
I can make anything work.
Okay,
What time works for you, Rebecca?
I can make anything work on that day.
maybe say 5, we do 5 to 8.
Can Angelica be released from downstairs to come?
Oh, it was on Wednesday, she's not here on Wednesday. She's here on Tuesday.
Here till 6 p.m. on Wednesday.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, with the yeah, the late hours. That's right. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course you can. Yeah. Well, I was thinking she might rather spend 3 hours with you instead of 3 hours with the planning board. But
All right, so the 23rd, we'll do 5 o'clock. Eric's gonna get us pizza.
yep. If you got any requests, let me know.
So 4:30.
Oh, that was a separate item. I'm sorry, guys. I thought it said that in the calendar piece.
I mean, it is, but we just covered the big part of it. I mean, the schedule is very much the same. We've had that same approach, unless you guys want to do something different, like getting a moderator again. I think we've done pretty well without
The
that
moderator.
support. Yeah,
Did we just say 5 or 5:30?
Fine.
5. Yeah,
And
get
we're gonna
early in,
plan to
early
be
out.
done by,
8.
When we're done.
We were done earlier than 8 last year.
Depends on when the pizza's gone.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Only buy one, Eric.
So our last agenda item is 25-113, discuss the select board bylaws and conduct a brief new member orientation. Eric.
So yeah, I actually had the pleasure of meeting with Catherine and Rebecca last week to go over a lot of the kind of finer details of the position. Rebecca has done a ton of research and read a lot of documents, and I think is fairly familiar, and in her time on the school board also has prepped her for the board role. So really, this was just the time to kind of revisit some of this stuff if there was an interest. The select board used to have like a 30-page document for select board roles and responsibilities, but it's been kind of honed down to this, I think, really good, concise 3-page document. And that's worked really well since we put that in place. But yeah, I don't really have anything other than just saying that we've met, we've had those discussions. I think Rebecca's going to do a fine job, and if you have any questions, let me know. Let the rest of the board know.
I think it's pretty good in this first meeting of the year. We have some of the things that we go over too, because it kind of
Yep.
makes you ask some questions and we have to go into some details, but anything else anybody wants to add about new member orientation?
Something I mentioned to Eric, and I think I should mention it again tonight, if Eric sends us a group message, whether it's through email or through text, you're more than welcome to respond to Eric and one other board member. But if you respond to the entire chain, then it's considered a public meeting and we're breaking law. So, thought I would just mention that because I know current board is really good about email.
I think we've stretched that a little bit when the topic is, we need to meet at 6, can everybody make it? Or can you come down to sign the warrant today before 4:30?
I was just gonna ask that.
So if we respond all, then everybody knows that 2 or 3 people have replied. Should we not do that?
I think that's okay. I'd say just do caution, right? Because it's certainly a public record and, just be careful with what type of communications. And oftentimes, if it doesn't need to be, everybody responding, it can just be less cluttered for us in general. With, what time you're coming down to sign the warrant or something, but, yeah, I mean, we've talked about that, we've looked at it, and I think that Jaren's right that we want to be cautious. But I think that there has been some flexibility around non-administrative items, or not, what am I trying to say here, perfunctory type stuff.
Administrative items only.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
what time you coming or can you get here?
Common sense would go a long way.
yeah, so,
And they're all originating from your phone, correct? Which is.
they
the
are,
town
so we have a
phone.
full record.
So we have a full record.
But as far as the meeting law, it is particular, but I think that we have that discretion for those type of items. As long as we're not like setting the meeting time officially, as a group, that would be, outside of a meeting.
I don't think you've
Don't
ever
make any
done,
decisions.
I don't think you've ever done that either.
I don't think we have.
No.
And I would be concerned if we did, so.
It's very much the warrant's ready.
That's pretty much the only group text we get, or
Can we meet at 6?
I'll be down later or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, in the past, we have had like an emergency executive session or something like that, but that gets reported.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that we're okay, just be cautious.
Great.
Okay. Other business, upcoming meetings and future agenda items.
Kristen included the election results for the school and town. So you all have that in the packets if you want to see, 10% of the people that voted against everything and.
You want to read down through them all?
Yeah, and only 10% of our registered voters voted, right?
Yeah, it was, and that was astonishing. Yeah, it was less than 300. So.
I'm taking that as a vote of approval.
I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Unanimous. Get out of here.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Eric, remind me